Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So, it appears a previously leaked Xbox, maybe exclusive, maybe not, might have just been quietly revealed online. This is a little strange in how they did this, so it does kind of beg some questions, but from all of its early details, by all indication, it sounds pretty good on paper, especially considering this is coming from a highly touted studio. Now, we also have some Nintendo news to talk about today, as their biggest release of 2023, being Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, has once again found itself amidst some controversy. So we're going to dive into both of those stories a little later on today, though as usual, we have plenty of other news to talk about as well. So, let's just go and jump right into things, and actually, let's get this episode kickstarted in an exciting way, because From Software just announced that much-anticipated Elden Ring expansion. I think we all kind of knew that an expansion was likely going to happen. This shouldn't really come as a major surprise or anything like that, but they went ahead and officially confirmed it today with a little bit of a low-key announcement. Now, this is where I was a little more surprised. I figured they would have made more of an effort to make some type of grand announcement, a real spectacle, if you will, and more so, I was a little surprised they didn't do all this on its anniversary, which, that was just a few days ago. But instead, they simply posted a tweet that reads, "Rise tarnished and let us walk a new path together. An upcoming expansion for Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, is currently in development. We hope you look forward to new adventures in the lands between." Now, unfortunately, there's no new trailer, there's no release date or anything like that. All we really have for the time being is its title being the Shadow of the Erdtree and a key art, which might hold a few hints. Maybe you'll find something in here. If you do, let me know in the comments below. But other than that, I gotta be honest with you all. Even without a trailer or release date, hey, I am still absolutely pumped for this DLC, and I know much of the community is as well. All I'm trying to say is today is automatically better with just a simple confirmation that we, yes, have more Elden Ring to look forward to. Can't wait to play this myself, as to this day, since finishing Elden Ring and 100%ing it, I've yet to play a game that can even hold a candle to how good this game is. It's an all-time great, easily. I don't think I've ever really felt this way before, but this might be the only time that I've ever felt like an expansion for me could actually end up being my game of the year when all said and done. Really, I just want to jump back into the world of Elden Ring once again. In the meantime, though, I do expect a bigger reveal for its expansion relatively soon, or at least, hopefully. Now, we also got an update for Luminous Productions, the studio behind both Final Fantasy XV and Forspoken. Technically, Forspoken was actually their quote-unquote first game since officially creating Luminous back in 2018, but unfortunately, it appears it will be their last. They posted an update which reads, "You may have heard the news that Luminous Productions is merging with Square Enix. Beginning on May 1st, our talented team will join Square Enix to deliver new, innovative gaming experiences to players across the globe. Between now and then, we remain entirely focused on Forspoken. We are currently working on the previously announced patch to address overall game performance. We will deliver an update soon, and the DLC, In Tonto We Trust, is on track for release this summer. Thank you again for your patience and support." Now, the thing is that I've seen a lot of fans confused about this post online. A lot of fans are celebrating, thinking it's actually good news, when in reality, that's sadly not the case here. Instead, this is unfortunately more of a demotion, if anything else. They talk about merging with Square Enix, but Square Enix actually already owns Luminous Productions, as they are a subsidiary of Square Enix. So what it sounds like here is that Square Enix wasn't necessarily happy with Forspoken. As we know, it didn't exactly review well, and by all indication, it didn't exactly sell all that great either. So ultimately, it looks like they're pretty much dissolving Luminous, taking away their creative freedom, and absorbing them into another project or projects. Now, with that said, I will say that there's a little bit of a silver lining here. Square is at the very least retaining the employees that worked at Luminous Productions. That is one bright part to this story. They didn't just completely dismiss them. However, this also kind of begs the question on what will happen with their own internal engine, Luminous Engine. That was a big part of Luminous Productions after all, but as we've seen in recent years, including Final Fantasy VII Remake, Square Enix has instead opted to use Unreal Engine, and that might be the case with most of their games going forward. Now, speaking of Japanese games, though, Trinity Trigger just got a release date for the West. This game has actually been out in Japan since September of last year, but it is now officially slated for an April 25th release in North America, and then May 16th for Europe. It does appear that there's a genuine interest in this title from fans of classic JRPGs, and really after seeing its gameplay trailer here, it's kind of easy to see why. It does remind me a lot of The Secret of Mana with its action-based combat, and in fact, some of the team working on this game has quite the pedigree in the JRPG genre. Apparently, this team includes talent that's worked on none other than, as I just mentioned, The Secret of Mana, which is what this game reminds me of, also Xenoblade, and even Octopath Traveler. So hey, I mean, if you like this genre, you might want to go ahead and keep an eye on this one. Again, it will release on April 25th in America for Steam, PlayStation, and of course, the Nintendo Switch. For Europe, though, keep in mind that instead it will release on May 16th. Okay, so let's just go and talk about this Xbox game, though, because yes, it appears a secret Xbox project, or maybe a previous Xbox project, was quietly revealed today. So first, we need to kind of go ahead and rewind here. Let's go back to 2021, when this was originally reported on, and some of you all might actually remember this, but there was a big leak by Windows Central that Xbox was partnering up with IO Interactive, the studio behind the Hitman franchise, to work on an exclusive fantasy title under the Xbox Game Publishing banner. We can actually take a look here at Eurogamer's report back in 2021, which interestingly enough corroborated that they had also heard about this game. This report says IO Interactive, developer of Hitman, has begun working on a new fantasy IP for Xbox which features dragons. That's according to a report by Windows Central, which states this is one of the several projects Microsoft is working on with external developers to be released under the Xbox Game Studios Publishing banner. Eurogamer sources have also heard word of this new project within IO Interactive, which is described as being AAA in scope, though still very early in development and years away. It's currently planned to feature a large medieval-esque world and, yes, winged beasts of the dragon variety. So, I mean, at the bare minimum here, both outlets had previously heard about this game back in 2021, but now, here we are in 2023, and IO Interactive themselves has now seemingly confirmed this game's existence. They posted a big blog revealing that they are indeed working on a fantasy project as previously rumored. This post reads, "Now we are sharing with all of you that we are embarking on a new adventure, one that expands our creativity, our capabilities, and in some sense, our identity. We are building a new world, a new IP, an online fantasy RPG, a world and a game built from the core to entertain players and expand for many years to come. It feels familiar, yet at the same time, IOI is going on a journey unlike any we have been on before." Now, they're already hiring for this project and everything, so we actually do have some very loose details on what to expect here. But they did note that this is a brand new IP for both console and PC, and that they want to quote-unquote revolutionize the online fantasy RPG genre. Now, all of this is highly, highly exciting on paper. I mean, IO Interactive is an excellent studio after all. They've done a great job with the Hitman franchise. Though it'll be interesting to see exactly what they can do in a completely different genre where they can really, really unlock their creativity. However, and here's the thing, something that some fans have kind of noticed about this announcement is that so far, they've not specifically mentioned what consoles it's releasing for, or that they're partnering up with Xbox at all, as the original leak had claimed. So now some are kind of wondering whether or not Xbox is still publishing this game. Well, Jez Corden, which was the original source behind this leak, is also wondering the exact same thing. He took to Twitter to post this. "No platforms mentioned makes me think it's not being published by Xbox anymore and may be multi-platform." He then continues on to say maybe it was never being published by Xbox and only pitched. So, I mean, if anything, Jez might want to further investigate this. He was the original source and everything, so I could see him looking into this a little bit more, and an update might be coming sometime in the future. But I think with this announcement being made today, and with the way it was announced, I would go in with no expectations on what platform or platforms it'll come to. On one side, it could still be an Xbox exclusive, as that original rumor claimed, and they're just not saying that here. But I wouldn't really go in with that expectation. I'd say it's more of a wait-and-see type of thing by this point, but either way, I do think that it's genuinely exciting just knowing that IOI is now working on this fantasy project, regardless of what platforms it's coming to. I mean, I'm just interested to see more about this game. Be excited because it's a good studio that's working on an ambitious game, rather than being excited simply because it's coming to one specific platform, if you know what I mean. Now, as for Nintendo, there was a little bit of a controversy for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom once again. Feels like fans are starting to get a little bit antsy about this game by this point. We still don't really know much about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We've seen glimpses of it and everything, but this is a game that you would expect to see more of by this point. This is Nintendo's biggest game for 2023 after all, but nonetheless, fans' minds are going just wild on what to expect when it comes to this game. If you remember right, not long ago, there was an ad spotted online which revealed that there was some type of Switch Online functionality, and fans, they just kind of jumped to the conclusion and assumed that this was pointing to some type of multiplayer for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. However, as many have kind of pointed out, that simply could just mean it was Switch Online cloud support where you can simply save your game into the cloud. Today, though, another controversy has cropped up. This time it's because it was spotted that on the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom store page, in fine print, it mentions DLC. It says, full version of the game required to use DLC, sold separately. So now fans are speculating and just kind of jumping to the conclusion that some type of an expansion, season pass, or something like that is currently being planned for Zelda, which is kind of ironic when you think about it, considering Tears of the Kingdom was originally meant to be Breath of the Wild DLC. So, I mean, we've kind of gone full circle here, but yes, Tears of the Kingdom ultimately could have DLC planned, which, I mean, I wouldn't be overly shocked about that, but not everybody is necessarily thrilled about. This once again brings up that ongoing trend where a lot of publishers, they plan DLC before a game is even officially out. When this happens, it just feels like we're being nickeled and dimed rather than getting the full experience day one. And I mean, Zelda, this is a game that's already $70. So, I mean, you can kind of see why some fans would be a little upset about that. Here's my thing about all this, though. While yes, Tears of the Kingdom could absolutely have some type of DLC planned, it might even be likely, but I don't think that this mention of it on its store page is necessarily indicative of that. I mean, for all we know, this could just be for some minor type of DLC. It could be for cosmetics or some type of pre-order bonus that you get with different stores that you pre-order from, or anything like that. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get some huge expansion or a season pass. So I think with that in mind, fans need to just kind of wait for an official confirmation before, again, jumping to conclusions. Now, with that said, though, I mean, we should get a Zelda Direct sometime here soon. There's still a lot that we don't know about this game. I do assume Nintendo will fix that relatively soon. So hopefully we'll get that Direct sooner rather than later, where all of our questions will then be answered. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, what has been your favorite game that's released in 2023 thus far? I mean, there's been a lot of really great games. We'll get back to that here in just a second. But as you can see, the winner here was Hogwarts Legacy with 41% of the votes. 24% of you all then voted for Hi-Fi Rush. 13% of you voted for Dead Space Remake. 12% closely followed by that was Metroid Prime Remastered, and then 10% of you all voted for Other. Now, like I said, there's been a lot of really great games this year, so no doubt about it, a lot of you all are voting for Other. I mean, to just go down a small list of games that's released this year so far, I mean, you have Metroid Prime, you have Persona 4 that did come over to more platforms, Dead Space Remake, you have Hi-Fi Rush, Theater Rhythm came out, there's also Monster Hunter Rise that came to Xbox and PlayStation, Octopath Traveler 2, then you have Hogwarts Legacy, Like a Dragon Ishin just released, also Persona 3, and Fire Emblem Engaged. I mean, this is just the first 2 months of 2023. It has been absolutely crazy. This honestly might be one of the best stretches in video game history just from a sheer quality standpoint. But yeah, Hogwarts Legacy has proven to be the most popular. Not only has this game been received very well, but it is just selling an absolute ton of copies. It's already eclipsed 12 million units sold worldwide. Again, I guess that boycott didn't exactly work too well, but nonetheless, no big surprise here. Hogwarts Legacy, with it being the most popular, most of you all did vote for that one. I'll tell you this much though, the real winner winner here are gamers, because there's a lot of great games to play here. But at the same time, the loser here is our backlogs. Oh my goodness, it just keeps on building. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.